welcome to another episode of the Walk Talk podcast. We're here at Eastside Boxing Gym's new gym with trainer John Pegg. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, all good, man. Everyone's settled into the new gym. People have had a real buzz off about being in the new gym. And as you've seen today, the sparring, people are coming from far and wide for sparring. So it's really
lovely
good.
place, man. This is a really nice place. Looking around. Wow.
It's got a lot of character, hasn't it?
We had the chance to go to your old gym, and obviously this gym as well looks leaps and bounds ahead.
Yeah, it's just got all the little bits. We've got a full kitchen, we've got heating, we've got the showers being fitted. Yeah, it's just everyone's pleased to be here. It's the traffic's easier to get to. It's just everything about it is better. Got a great landlord, a really good landlord who's really supportive of the boxing. So couldn't ask for more.
What was the move down to? Was that?
Well, the landlord at the old gym, I think he's looking to sell it to the Blues redevelopment, and he was hard work. He was always coming up with stuff that he was just hard work, and for what and then we met the guy who owns this gym, Warren, while he owns the building, and he's a real community-based man who wants to do good stuff in the community. And when he found out how many amateurs we've got and the amount of kids we take off the streets, Warren just wanted to make it work. And when you've got a landlord who wants to make it work and who comes to watch your fighters fight and is genuinely interested, it's just a relief, you know what I mean? So it just happened at the right time. The old landlord up by the Blues ground has been a bit of a dick, and then we got a good offer, and that was it. We just couldn't wait to move. Now we're in here. We're happy we did.
I'm running. Well, have you got much big things lined up? Since the cards lined up.
Well, we had 3 fighters on last night. We had 3 winners. Top of the bill, Jess Barry won really well, boxed really well. We've got a big show at the end of March, March 27th, where we've got Niall Berry, Jess Barry, Omar Davis on from this gym, and then a few other guys that I manage on that show. Tyler Rivers, who was sparring today, he's fighting the night before in Scotland for a Commonwealth International. We're expecting good things there. He's been looking great in sparring.
He's looking absolutely ripped.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A welterweight. He's a different kid.
Wow.
We've got Liam O'Hare on the Tyson Fury bill in April against Felix Cash. Big fight for him. Difficult fight, but there ain't no easy fights on big bills. And then obviously it hasn't quite been announced, but we've got Sam. It's all done. We've got Sam Eggington against Conor Walker, May the 2nd in Wolverhampton. So we've got some stuff coming up. Looking for fights for Shakan Pitters, Steve Woodall, a few of the other guys. But, they're all in the gym ready to go, so those fights will come.
Well, obviously you're known well around the Midlands and that, but for people that don't know you, can you tell us a bit about yourself? Tell them a bit about yourself.
Boxing coach for a long time, 20 years now, a pro coach. I've held every licence in the game apart from an MC's licence. I've had promoters, whip, boxer, cornerman, matchmaker. I do a bit of everything. We've got some really good guys coming through. We've had some really good guys that have come through in the past. We've won titles at every level. And that's it. The boxing is just, it's just what we do, and it's what we're good at, and it brings a lot of pleasure. It's not really a job as such. That's why half the time you're doing it for nothing, to be fair, or sometimes you're even losing money, but it doesn't matter because it's the best thing we like doing.
And you had a professional career as well, didn't you?
Yeah, not a very good one. If you look up there, there's a post from one of my fights in 1994. Yeah, I was a decent enough amateur. Turned professional a little bit young at 19. Didn't realise about home and away fighters. I was kind of an away fighter. Lost a few on points. Never got chinned or anything because I was always trained hard. But I was just like, oh, well, I'm not good enough for this.
Okay.
A few years later, I realised that you have to be with the home side and you have to be maybe a little bit more mature and older. By that time, I was past boxing. I'd realised I wasn't going to be a champion. So I spent a few years out of the game just being a fan and following boxing. And then I bumped into Richie and Len Woodall, a guy called Ken Purchase. and got my interest in the program again, and it just went
And
on
that was
from
how
there.
you got into coaching.
Yeah. I was doing the matchmaking for their shows. I was in the gym all the time, and just turned out I was a much better coach than I was fighter. So
Wow.
everyone has a different journey.
What made you a better coach than a better fighter?
Not being a good fighter.
Okay.
Because when you're not a good fighter, you have to learn it back to front. A lot of real talented fighters have not met good coaches because they don't understand that people can't just do it. They could just throw a left hook. They could just knock someone out. They could just make people miss because they were talented. Mm-hmm. When you're not super talented...
So you're saying that you just never had the natural
I wasn't a natural fighter like that.
Okay.
The champions are natural.
Okay, so you basically genetics we're talking about.
Yeah, and just that inbuilt talent. Every kid plays football, but 1 out of every 10,000 gets to play for the Premier because they're just better. But I do believe that the guys who study but they're not naturally gifted become the best coaches. Because if you have to explain something in a teaching way, you can't just say, "Oh, just throw it."
It's like football. Look at the football managers who become Wayne Rooney, for example.
Because he just knew how to do it, but he can't explain it because he never had to study. Because he just, and I think that's like with boxers.
As a football fan, it's interesting that it does transcend down in boxing as well.
Sugar Ray Leonard says he didn't want to be a coach because he just says to people, "I'll just do it," because he could just do it. Whereas if you couldn't just do it, and you have to learn it, and you have to study it, and you have to understand it because you don't quite get it and it don't quite work, you learn every aspect of it. Then you can break it down and show someone you're doing this because of this. This is what's going to happen. These are the muscles that do it. Rather than really super talented guys, I'll just throw it. And they don't realise 99% of the population can't just throw it. Nigel Benn would say, just chin them. Not realising that Nigel Benn's got a God-given talent that he touches people and they fall asleep. So I remember he trained his nephews and he stopped after about 3 or 4 months because he was like, I don't get it. That they couldn't just do what he could do naturally. Yeah. So I think that's why I made a good coach. And I've always enjoyed strategic challenges. You know, I play a lot of chess. You know, I'm a bit of a gamer on the PCs and it's always strategy games that I play. You know, there's all that kind of stuff. So, and it's all a strategy if you can keep calm.
People don't see that sort of boxing.
No, they just think it's a fight, but it's not. Well, it is, but it's a fight with a lot of thinking somewhere along the line. You can't think too much in the ring because you'll get caught. It's you got to think before and you got to drill it in so you instinctively think. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What was it that first got you into boxing? Obviously, you said you didn't have that good a career, but what was it that drew you to
origin story?
It was a long time ago. I was carrying a little bit of weight as a kid. My older brother was always in trouble. I was quite quiet, like books and stuff. But there's and my mum just says, "Oh, I don't want you to look like your older brother." Fine to do something. My older brother was always like I've never been in trouble, and I always say to people don't realise both my brothers have been in trouble. You know, like they're good now, but they've both been in trouble. I never have.
What area did you grow up in?
Lee Village and Shard End. So you know,
proper Birmingham, man.
Yeah. But my brothers both kind of got themselves in trouble, and I never at all. But the only difference between us was I boxed. And like we was in the same house, the same area, the same environment, the same genetics. Both of them got themselves in trouble when they was younger. I never. And I just say the only difference was I was doing the boxing gym. So people don't see that. It just kind of, it stops things before they even start. You know what I mean?
Wow.
How did you find it when you first went in the gym? Did you fall in love with it instantly?
Well, he's my amateur coach, a guy called Jacko Jackson. He was an old Irish guy. And anything I do, like I read the history of it, I get into it. And Jacko was a real historian of boxing. He studied it. And I was probably the worst in there, but I stuck with it. And all my friends who started, maybe a bit more athletically better than me, they drifted away. And Jacko spotted that I loved the history, and he'd ask me a question every session. And the next session, and this was before BoxRec and stuff, I'd have to find the answer somehow on the old Ring magazines or something. And he loved that. And then when I used to box as an amateur, he'd say to me, "Oh, tonight you're going to be Rocky Graziano. Tonight you're going to be Willie Pep," because he knew that's what triggered me as an amateur kid and got me going, and I enjoyed it. And he he stayed my friend his whole life. You know, he had an accident in his late 70s, and he lost the use of his legs, so he was in a bed, and I went to visit him, and I spoke at his funeral. So he wasn't my trainer; he was my friend my whole life, and yeah, so he kind of seen what triggered a young kid who weren't the best, and he found the triggers, and that made me fall in love with it, and then I always tell this story. I was obsessed by it, scrapbooks and all that, but the actual point for me where I think I got hooked, the actual point was when Roberto Duran beat Iron Barkley. And I remember I stayed up and was watching it, and I kind of knew about Duran because I was studying history and all that, but I didn't quite know like you know now. And I remember seeing this guy who was close to middle age, 5'7", fighting this 6-foot, muscly, big, scary ex-gang member from New York, and he was just a river. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh wow, this is about attitude and knowledge and will to win. And he dropped Barkley and he snarled him at the end of the round. And I was like, if you didn't know and you looked at them two, you'd be like, and that was the point where I was like, it got me. Wow. Roberto Duran. And then when I met him years later, people say, oh, never meet your heroes. Sometimes you should, because I met him and he was an amazing man as well. Couldn't speak English, but he didn't need to. He was just amazing. And if you look up there, the old gym that we had in the city centre 15 years ago, Roberto Duran opened it. He's on the picture up there.
Oh, mate, that's lovely.
So, yeah, so they say never meet your heroes. And that can be true, but sometimes meet them because it's amazing. But, yeah, I was kind of hooked from Jacko Jackson, but then that was the point where I was like, this is for me. This is amazing. And, you know, I don't know if you know, but I make a few films and I've wrote a book and stuff. Yeah. So I've always liked a bit of storytelling. And seeing Duran that night, it was like, oh, this is like a film. You know, this shouldn't happen, and it's just happened, and he's fearless. And so, yeah, so that was when I got really hooked. And then, you know, things happen, and your own story unfolds, either as a boxer or as a coach. And, you know, it's just, it's a very interesting game to be in. And the people you meet are very interesting. Not all nice, but they're all interesting, you know what I mean? A lot of the characters in the films I make and the book I wrote, they've got little snippets of people I've met in boxing because they have got the most character you'll meet, you know what I mean?
What are the books you've got out? So
the first, it's my first one. I've got lots of films out there, but the first book I wrote is called The Rule of 10. It's selling quite well.
Self-published?
Yeah.
Wow, brilliant, well done.
I wrote it as a project, and then I showed it to a journalist. He went, oh, you have to do something with this. So I just looked at ways of doing it. Didn't really cost me anything. You just get a link, you share the link, and because I know a lot of people, it's sold really well, and people have enjoyed it. It's very violent. It's a bit of a conspiracy theory, but it was just a project. It's like when I made a film, I wanted to see if I could, and then I put it in film festivals, and it won some trophies and awards.
Wow, mate, well done.
And then someone was talking about feature films, and they says, oh, you can't do it without training or money. So I did. And that's on Amazon Prime still to this day. And then I've made a few more, and it's good fun. But then I wanted to see if I could write a play. So I wrote a play for a local acting group, and it's been on, and it's been put on the stage.
Are these related to boxing?
No.
Wow.
The first film I ever made was a boxing film. The first one I ever made, because they always say, right, well, you know, and I didn't have a clue. I weren't like the greatest at school, so I just kind of learnt it. But my last film I made was about a riot in a woman's prison where two people are trapped in there. The film before that was about 6 pensioners meeting on a bench once a week to chat and talking about life's regrets. The last play I actually wrote was about this place, Kozel. It was a murder mystery actually based in Kozel because it was performed down the road. So, you know, you know, I just write about what... And then my book was like a conspiracy theory about 10 families running Britain.
Well, I have heard a review from your book.
Yeah.
Someone you know, Darren Thompson.
Oh, okay, yeah, brilliant. He enjoyed it, yeah. Well, I think he enjoyed it.
He said he enjoyed it. He says it was a conspiracy
theory. Yeah.
He said that's your thoughts. So
do you know what?
You go down them avenues.
I'm not so much, but I know people do, and I'm always interested in stuff. I'm always devil's advocate. Like, you two could be having arguments, and I'd say, well, his point I can understand, and his point I can. So and I know people love conspiracy theories, and it was during COVID, not when I wrote it, but just after. But I based it during COVID. And I says, right, you got these 10 families who run Britain from the shadows. And during COVID, they think now's the time to get rid of the other 9. And it just, it's a huge book. Like, it's like well over 100 characters. Some people find that difficult.
Wow.
But I'm a fan of Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, the Red Knight series. I love big, sprawling books. So I had lots of characters. I had fun with it. If I wanted to write someone, I wrote it. That's what keeps me so interested in boxing, because I do stuff that's totally different outside of boxing. Because if you're consumed by anything, eventually it becomes boring.
Yeah.
So, or you become cynical, or you dislike it. So, so when I'm not, well, I'm here a lot, but when I'm not, I do things that's totally different. I do things that's nothing to do with it. So when I come back, I can't wait.
To be fresh then.
Yes. That's the
Yeah.
plan. And I'm just working on book 2 now. And book 2 I'm enjoying, because the first one was a real, I've never done one, and I've never been taught how to do one. So I kind of did it. But the second one now I've got an idea, like, this is how it works. It's the follow-up. It's a trilogy, yeah.
Oh,
At the end of the first one, everyone's going, what the fuck happens next? Because I left it hanging. So the first one is kind of the setup. You meet the families, you find out what it's all about. The second one is carnage. Then the third one is going to be the aftermath and how does this all pan out. So,
Tell everyone where they can view your work.
My feature film is on Amazon Prime.
What's it called
It's called
again?
The Quiet One. Been out for
Quiet
a few
One.
years. A lot of people have seen it. Been watched a lot. I've got a YouTube channel with some of my films on, and then some of the others are just about, I make them and I move on, and they go in the film festivals. My book you can get on Books Buy, or you can contact me. I've always got a few copies, and you can come and get one off me. But yeah, it's just, like I say, it keeps boxing fresh for me. If I was obsessed with boxing, as like I kind of am anyway, but if I'd done it every hour of the day, I would eventually not enjoy it.
Yep.
Going away and doing stuff that's totally different gives me that hunger to keep enjoying boxing.
Was doing some of them the point of it, to do stuff that people said you couldn't, or it couldn't?
Oh God, yeah. When people says that I couldn't make a feature film, I was like, oh really? Oh, okay.
Is that because they stereotype you through boxing? Or?
No, just the same, because you can't make a feature film with no money and no access to locations and no training.
Mm-hmm.
And halfway through, I was like, oh fuck, they're right. You can't make a feature film without that stuff. But I found a way. But halfway through, I was like, oh man, I might have bit off more than I can chew here. But yeah, and like the book, people didn't say it, but I was doing a seminar for a movie making group over in Sutton Coldfield, because they wanted to know how I make films so quickly. So I use my boxing kind of discipline of the way I train people to make a film. I make them really fast. So I was doing a seminar and they was asking me about writing it. And they says, oh, how do you write characters so easily? I says, well, I know a lot of characters. And they says, well, what don't you like about writing? I said, I like all of it. I says, what I don't, I says, I've tried before to write a book. I says, I couldn't do it because it's different to script writing. And then I come away from it and I thought, I've just told them people I haven't wrote a book because I couldn't do it and I'm not done it. I said, no, I have to write one because I'm not happy about that, because I've told that I didn't think I could do it, so I've not done it. That's not the way to be. So I went away and got stuck into it. It's not perfect, I'm self-taught, but it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And a certain demographic, I think you guys would like it, because it seems to be like males past their teens, but they're the ones who are like, yeah, we can get into this. Now, if you are, you've had the worst milk.
He's just had a hard life, this guy, man.
No, that's if he's in his teens, that's criminal.
Gyms. He spent it in boxing
that's
gyms.
criminal if you're in your teens. But no,
he's not.
No, I know. I wouldn't have got that wrong. But yeah, no. So you guys are the kind of demographic who are going, oh yeah, I'm into this. It's like, it's like Jack Reacher with 100 people. There's just like plenty of violence, and a few people have gone to me, oh God, you really describe the violence well. I'm like, I'm round it every day. If I can't describe that well, if I can't, then I may as well just forget it. So yeah, so I'll finish that trilogy. Whether I'll write any more, I don't know. Or maybe I'll find something else to do, something that is a bit of a challenge. But then my boxing is always the kind of fallback, and I know I can do that. So yeah,
it's a lovely attitude.
What drew you into the coaching?
I love strategy. I love challenge. Like I say, I'm a chess player. I war games. championship manager. I love strategy. I love working things out. And whenever I won some good amateur fights, if I had a good win, it was never by beating them up. It was always by outthinking them. I could always figure them out and outsmart them. I was never the most physical. Some people, like say, some people are cello render, they can punch. Some people like Noel Berry can just have got an engine that's unbelievable. I was never anything super special, but I trained hard. But I was a great thinker. If I had a good win, it was because I could outthink them. I could spot their mistake. And for a coach, you know, that's one of the assets of a coach, really, to be able to think on the spot and apply a strategy and make it simple for the boxer in 60 seconds in the corner. So yeah, I like the challenge of, you know.
Have you took that back to your first coach? Because I know when you mentioned him, he knew ways to trigger you. So do you think that's important?
Jacko was a good people person. He wasn't a good strategist, because Jacko was a very, very hard man himself as a boxer and as a man, to be honest. And literally, he was like, you know, but he loved the history, so, and he knew that triggered me. But he you know, he wasn't a strategist. He was like,
I mean, that taking you into, because obviously you have a lot of fighters come
yeah,
through
yeah.
here, and they're not all the same.
No,
that's important where you have to adapt to people.
Yeah, because so many, you know, a lot of time people train, and that's where you get really good fighters. They train people how they fought. But no, I try and look and say, like, well, I trained Craig Cunningham and Sam Egginton at the same time. You couldn't get two more different fighters. A crafty southpaw who's smart defensively, knows how to get round, picks and pokes. And then Egginton, especially the early version of Egginton, which was literally, you're in front of me, I'm not having it. Yeah, basically. So, you know, I take people's strengths and I try and tweak their strengths. And we've got a great team here. Soggy, Louis, my son's on board now. Some of our old fighters have started getting their licenses as well. But no, I try and take the strengths and make them better for that, you know, because two people are not the same and people haven't got the same strengths. Like Cello Render was one of the biggest one hitters you ever met. You couldn't train him the same as you could train Craig. Sam's like got a great engine, great chin and fearless. What worked for him wouldn't work for 99% of people, you know. But Sam couldn't box like Craig Cunningham could. You know, he couldn't do that stuff. He just couldn't. He'd get bored and he wouldn't like it and he'd probably get frustrated. So you have to train him to their strengths and then find a strategy that works against whatever the strength of the other guy is. That's the challenge that I enjoy as a coach.
I see a lot of boxing gyms and you have the coaches in there and they try and train the people in there to fight how they fought.
And this is where I think sometimes when someone was a successful boxer, which I'm lucky that I wasn't, they think, well, this works. This works, so you got to do it this way because I know it works because I did it. I didn't have no success. So I'm like, well, we've got to find out what works. We've got to find out what works for you. You know, you and him, you can actually see your different shapes. Couldn't train you the same. You know what I mean? So you find them out, you use your sparring, you do the drills that we've got up on the wall, you see what suits them. But yeah, being a successful boxer can actually be like a hindrance to being a good coach because you're like, well, I know it works because I won 30 fights and 5 titles. Yeah, but you had a granite chin. So what worked for you might not work for him because he hasn't got a granite chin. He's got lots of other skills. You see what I mean?
It's like a skinny guy teaching a fat guy how to lose weight.
Yeah, although to be fair, I boxed at featherweight and all my guys are good at making weight. Yeah. So when I'm standing there sometimes I feel like I'm taking the piss. I'm eating a bacon sandwich and telling them what to do, but I'm like, just check my record. I boxed at 8'12", so I know that, you know. But yeah, so yeah, I think sometimes someone who had real good success, it's hard to say to someone who had good success, that doesn't work. Because they're like, well, we know it worked, but it worked for you. And this guy might not have your attributes, or he might have attributes of his own that you've got to mould another way. That makes sense, yeah?
Definitely. You mentioned community earlier.
Yeah.
What do you think boxing gives back to the people and to communities?
Well, for a start, it takes lively, sometimes naughty kids and gives them discipline. It takes them away from situations where they're kids. If you know, we've all been there. If you're in with a load of people and you're all bored and someone does something silly who's particularly loud or particularly domineering, the rest of you will follow. One of you gets nicked, maybe two of you gets nicked, or you keep doing it until it gets worse. This stops that because boxers are confident. Boxers believe in themselves. They've got their own group that's kind of obsessed with training and competing and being fit and clean living. So all of a sudden, like we've got 40 new kids in this gym from the area. They all seem lovely kids, but if them kids was out on a park, they could be troublesome kids, but in here they're not. And it learns you that there's always someone bigger. You know, it's all right punching people. Everyone can punch someone. Yeah. Everyone can, because there's always someone you can punch. You know, but in a boxing gym, you soon realise, oh, there's a skinny kid over there with glasses who's lethal. And it learns them the discipline, sometimes the hard way, sometimes the good way. So it does that. Then you put amateur shows on, and people get to go along as a community and watch these kids competing and being sportsmen and taking losses like men and winning and improving themselves. And the community suddenly feels proud. When we open this, the local mayor says, any backing I can give you, I will. He says, this is, I've never seen nothing like this around here, you know. So it makes a focal point. And you got to remember, coaches all do it for nothing. So you got people who might be maybe going to the pub or sitting vegetating, suddenly having purpose as well. Yep. And the coaches have got stuff to do. The boxing gym's never been a bad thing. It's never been a bad thing, you know.
I'm a big advocate that they should bring it back as part of the curriculum.
Yeah.
For some reason, they just aren't interested.
Because people just see the fact that someone gets punched. They don't realise that when people get punched in here with rules and equipment and stuff, making sure it's done right, probably 20 people don't get punched out there. It's blinkers. Oh, someone's getting punched under rules with safety equipment when they're trained. You know what? Doing that in here will stop 20 people getting punched where they might bang their head on the floor or someone might kick them afterwards. And they don't see that. It's very blinkered, you know what I mean? But while boxing gyms are doing what they're doing, it's the first step, you know what I mean? Because like the attention we've had here, people have been going away, telling people at school, then someone else comes and the parents comes. Then somebody will see someone going up the street with a bag and the mum will say, where's he off to? Oh, the boxing gym. Since he's been going there, that's all he thinks about. Then the mum's going, can we bring him in it? And, you know, we do it dirt cheap to make sure, because we keep having people going, that's the price for the whole week. And we're like, yeah, we don't want any kid not able to come. You can't do it for nothing, because when you do it for nothing, it has no value. And then they treat you like it's no value. It's like when, you know, when you get a free ticket for something, you go, I might go. Yep. You know, if you bought that ticket, you'd go. You're going, aren't you? Yep. So you can't do it for nothing. No, yeah. But we do it, everyone says, they think it's per session. We're like, no, that's the week, because we don't want any kid not able to come here. You know what I mean? So, you know, we've also in our beginners class, like that's the parents' room over there. That's where they wait, so they're out the way, but they can watch. And we've had parents go, is there any age limit on this? I'm like, nope. And they're like, what, so we can train alongside them? I'm like, yep. We've actually had two parents and they're training with the kids, and one of them who's a mum, one's a dad, different kids, like the, you know, not like a mum and dad with one kid. But the mum actually says to me, it's the most I've spoke to him. She says, as we're going home, he talks to me about boxing. He's like about 11. You know, so, you know, and that's what boxing is, man.
The other day, you had your oldest member in as well.
Yeah, he was about 72, 73, something like that. I just done him half an hour because I've never trained anyone that old. And I thought, and he really enjoyed it. We've done a bit of technique, a bit of bag work, and then we done some stomachs because I thought I don't want him doing burpees and stuff. I've never trained anyone, you know. So, but he really enjoyed it. Hopefully, he'll be back this Sunday. So I said to him, just do once a week on a Sunday, see how you feel. You know, he trained alongside some of the pros. So he's probably thinking, bloody hell, am I going to be sparring them? But no, we've had females in there. We've had, like I say, parents and their kids. We've got the beginners class, plus all the boxers. You know, and we've had some nice cards come off the locals, wishing us luck and all that. So yeah,
it's good though because it shows that there's no limit to it. Doesn't matter what age, sex you are.
No. Anyone who wants to come and train, they can train. You know what I mean? We've had some kids who are slightly on the spectrum, and the parents have been a bit worried. Just tell me what not to trigger. Tell me what to keep an eye out for. I was a youth worker in Lee Village for about 7 years. Don't get any worse than that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, and some of them I'll say, do me a favour, not a problem, they can come, but stay here for me. If I feel like I can't quite deal with the issue, just stay in the parents' room, have a cup of tea. He can be involved, you know. Yes, yeah. So, you know.
Oh man, what a fantastic talk.
What's the plan going forward for
Yeah.
you?
Do you know what? I just enjoy it, man. I just enjoy what we're doing. You have ambitions and all that, but we've got a lovely gym now where we feel really comfortable. We can do things with the kids and all that. Because of Eggington, I'm a little bit spoiled because we've won every title. And I'm not ambitious that I want to win every title every year, you know. So if you can get a kid who didn't think he could do anything to a Midlands title, or you can get a kid that earns enough that he puts a deposit on an house, you're winning. So, and while we're enjoying it, you know, I'm probably more ambitious about making films than I am boxing. Because I feel like boxing, we've done a great job and we're still doing it. And I've won everything that when I was a fan, I would have given anything to win. I've won all that stuff with the boxers, you know what I mean? I could never win it myself. I wasn't good enough. I've won it with the boxers. So I'm probably more ambitious with like films and books and stuff.
Just a goal, another goal.
Yeah. The boxing, I'm quite content. I love to win, and I love the people to win, but I'm not as hungry as I once was because we've won British, we've won Commonwealth, we've won European, we've won World.
Yep.
I've done a corner at Madison Square Garden. You know, thank you, Peter Fury, for trusting me with Savannah, even though we got robbed. But I've kind of ticked a lot of bucket stuff that I'm like, I've done it, you know what I mean? We've been to Wembley, we've been to big shows, the main events, we've won Fight of the Years. So, yeah, I love winning. And I'm very, like last night, didn't sleep for 3 hours after Jess Barry's six rounder. I'm still that, but I'm not quite so like, oh, we've got to do it. We've done it. So yeah, we just, you know, working with kids who are good kids, helping them do stuff, and we enjoy it along the way, and then developing this place into something that to be really proud of. You know what I mean? And then my challenges will come from different things now. I love to challenge myself, but like I say, you do a world title fight, Madison Square Garden, you kind of
It's hard to top it, isn't it?
yeah. So I'm like, I'd love to do it again, but if I don't, I've done it. So you know, I've worked with great people. You know, worked with some real superstars coming through. You know, so yeah, boxing, ambitious, and we want to keep improving. But I ain't like before we won our first British title when I really wanted it. Now I've done it. I'm like, okay, we're going to do that again. We've got a Wall of Fame for a reason. We've got a knockout wall. We've got an amateur wall out fame. We've got all them for a reason because we want to keep getting on them. But it's, you know, it's not as important as the first time, you know, and that's what I'm saying. Eggington's kind of spoiled me because we've done everything with him against the odds as well, which is a big deal. But yeah, my real challenges come from stuff that maybe I'm not capable of, but I'm going to try. Whereas in boxing, I'm capable of, you know, as a team and as a gym, we're capable of a lot because we've done a lot. So now my challenges are things that perhaps I don't think I can do, and I'm going to try and maybe fail, but it'll be fun. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's, you know.
We wish you all the best going forward.
No, thank you guys.
You're doing great stuff here. Good luck with the book.
Well, make sure you come down, man. Make sure you come down and visit and meet the new guys because there's always a new generation coming through and it's interesting.
Congratulations on your success, man.
Thank you for giving us your time.
Of course, man, no problem. Thank you for helping and supporting boxers. That's what it's all about.
Jon Pegg, ladies